today. A lot of clarity. Starting off with not giving women money or your time. The reason for this is multiple fold, and this isn't, like maybe it's a business thing and fine, but as long as you actually need something and it's a legitimate business transaction, like somebody has a product or service that you want. And it's good to try to avoid, like, I think men should consume men's services, particularly the more personal, interpersonal, personal kind of, the ones that are more involved in the personal aspects of life, like from massage therapy to counseling sessions to, like personal training or coaching, life coaching, that type of thing. Because the implication, there's always an implication, unless it's like super certain, there's often an implication, conscious or subconscious, by either the woman giving the service or the man providing the service. And of course it goes vice versa. If a woman is maybe consciously or unconsciously likes a guy, and then she buys a product or service from him because he or she want more than a professional interaction. They want to get the person in a situation where they're maybe more vulnerable to seduction. And a lot of this happens on an unconscious level. And these days people are looking more attractive. They're taking better care of their health. So you'll see more and more people find each other attractive, not just that they're nice people, friendly personality wise, but also their physicality, their body, it looks attractive. So therefore more and more people will be prone to accidentally or inadvertently or intentionally even seducing one another. And even people who you're not attracted to can seduce you. Listen to this very carefully. They can seduce you with wording. They can seduce you by getting you in a submissive state. Even buying somebody a meal and putting them in a good evening, fellow viewer. Both you and I are here I'm conversating on life topics, life issues. The reality is that people are can seduce each other unintentionally if they're not careful. And so we got to be careful to be. My theme today is the word unloving. The word unloving means it has a broad application. It's activities that are not loving. And so an example of that would be people who seduce each other for premarital intimacy. That's unloving. Another example would be a guy buying a product or service from a woman, like I was saying, where the intention is, that they kind of, there's a romantic interest, and it's like they kind of like each other, and one person likes the other person. But like I said, liking is superficial. It's not loving. Love has to do with commonly shared values. So this is what is known as imagine good timing. I was inspired to go live. I had a lot on my mind, some moments of clarity, and you're gonna get a fucking load here. And I'm actually game to go into Waikiki, where I don't know if you know, I don't know if you've seen one of my Waikiki streams, Imagine, but we get, we get people walking by, and we get people seeing like a whiteboard that I write on, and we get into stuff. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. But okay, so one of the aspects of it all is like what's unloving. And another thing I've been thinking about a lot is money management. So I feel like I have some awareness of money. Like here's a good example. Let's say I'm trying to pay for a service that I have, maybe even a YouTube premium membership, but let's say that it's not in my budget. But let's say, in theory, that I had a friend that worked at YouTube, and they got points for me paying consistently. And the truth is that, and then here's the worst one, is let's say there's a woman that you have some interest in, but you're not committed to marriage. That's why the first thing I said, Imagine, when I started this stream was, it's important to be really careful when you're giving products, or like you're buying something, or buying a product or service from a woman, because what can end up happening is you can end up spending more money, or even just your time, more time than you would otherwise want to, and that ends up this fucking traffic light is taking forever. And what that ends up doing is it makes you distrust yourself, because at a soul level, if you like, everyone knows when like a guy is talking to a girl, I shouldn't say girl, because I should say woman, or the opposite of guy is, I think, lady. The female the female version of guy is, or gal, but girl is a young person. See, we need to, the power of the words that we use, we need to distinguish and be careful with our word choice. So here's my theory. Let's say there's a woman you're interested in. Either you're like, I don't think people should talk to anyone in a romantic context until they're ready for marriage. And the reason for that is it puts the man in a position of dignity. It's like there's no like trying to seduce the woman, hope she likes him. It's like he knows who he is. He knows, okay, I want to have two kids. I want them to be raised with this lifestyle, this diet, this way of approaching life, and like, for example, for me, it would be wanting them to have no premarital intimacy. The kids, I wanted them to be on a vegan diet. I'm not trying to push that right in this conversation. What I'm trying to do is cite an example that people should have things that they like, and stand for them, and equivalently things that they don't like. And so if a woman, okay, other people may be actually in stages of attachment. Like, people like to use lots of words. Here's another word one. You ready? We're going out together. We're talking. We're sleeping with each other. We're lovers. We're seeing each other. We're boyfriend and girlfriend. We're partners. We're engaged. Even engaged, I don't agree with. I think it's got to be black or white. It's got to be like, if you if you know, are as a man know you're ready for marriage, then you go about that. You go right ahead and you ask a woman, hey, you know what? This is who I am. You know, are you looking for a husband? Okay, so here's how you peace peace pie, yay. Okay, so this is a pleasure, guys, because it's been a while since I've been been online and really just been like totally mentally sharp, because I've been doing a lot of other stuff. Like I've been doing a lot of construction work and paying bills, that type of thing, and then experimenting with this new religion idea. It's basically the worship of the woman and her flower, and it's fucking beyond even woman. It's like not like, oh, I want a woman because I specifically want to worship her and celebrate her and give her oral sex. It's like I want to worship her because that's my religion, is to worship the woman, and it's not. And I wouldn't worship a woman. Peace pie. I would not worship a woman if she wasn't my wife. Like that's a clarifying thing. Like for me, but I still like to look at naked women and fantasize. And so happily married couples can do pornography online. That can be wholesome adult entertainment, I would describe it. And also, I have this idea for a strip club. Strip clubs should consist of married women, because then it's not about the guy trying to potentially, connect with the woman, or the woman trying to look for a guy. It's all about her just showing off her body, which I'm into. And so it's showing off. I want a loyal partner to build a life with, not an opponent. Right. See, what happens, Peace Pie, is here's what happens, dude. When you do not have a loyal person, when you're not both equally loyal, what happens is you compete with each other at an unconscious level. So what you do is, it's always like, oh, I want to be attractive as possible or as rich as possible, otherwise they might leave me. And that's not a state of commitment and love. A state of commitment and love is a commitment to mutually held, values. So let's say, and this is like your core values, right? It's like, what are you committed to? There should be like at least 3 things that are always on, your mind. Like, this is who I am. Like, for example, if you're into watching movies, if you're into a certain sport, if you're into a certain hobby, these really should be things that it's kind of like this. It's like it's easier to illustrate things when you bring it to an extreme. So a lot of people don't smoke cigarettes. For those who do, fine. But for those who don't, it would be an instant turn off, right? And so when you are turned off by something, then you're actually turned off. You're also turned off. You would not want to engage in sexual activity with the person. You would not want to marry them. And I do also think that I'm always about no intimacy before marriage, because first of all, I think that's unloving. It's saying that sex is more important than marriage for you. And if sex is more important than marriage, then you're not in control of your life. Once I'm tuned in, It's not loyal to my exactly. Peace pie. You may have you may have thought of that from some of my ideology of it's like a commitment to your future wife means that you're doing things every day to move closer to them. You're living for them. It's kind of like the concept of what would Jesus do, quote unquote. What would your future wife want you to do, right? And what that does is it actually makes you know how to love yourself more, make more time for the things you want to do, because your future wife, she would want that. So it can be easier to see life through the lens of a person that you know you would care about in the future. Now, back to the point. When people, okay, when people decide that, okay, I'm ready for marriage, here's the process. This is my kind of, after thinking about it, this is my angle on it. It's like this. It'll likely be a person you frequently see, or maybe if you're into trying to make an online marriage profile, well, a lot of social media kind of acts like that already, so people can easily look up your name, but the question is, how do you go about that? So here's how, in my view, and people will disagree with me, or they'll say you don't know what you're talking about because you're not married. And what I say to that is, I've studied a lot, and I'm about marriage. It's important to me. A lot of times when people are real critics, like they say rude things, like they're not even people I would take advice from, and they're not people who are interested in marriage. So you what do? Let me just execute this turn here. Okay, pardon me, that was a moment in traffic. You first go to a place that you frequent. It could be a restaurant, could be a gym, could be a church, could be a school. And by the way, if you're only 18 or in high school, or even like, what's a good age to get married would be one thing. I really think it's like, I want to say it's like 30, like, and then what's an age discrepancy? I think a 5-year variant could make sense. But yeah, 25 to 35. Yeah, right. And because I think people discover who they are, and they kind of have studied the world enough at a certain age to know that what they want. For both men and women, there's this idea of that they're supposed to, in the Bible, which to me makes sense, is you're supposed to cling to your parents, quote unquote, until you're married, both the man and the woman. Now, the reason this is because it's harder to think. Your emotions will influence you. Now, obviously, if you're doing all the practices that I encourage, such as having sex with yourself, then you're not relying upon other people to activate that energy in you, and so you're in a more powerful state when you are controlling and managing your life. But still, your quote unquote parents, and I don't think it's useful to refer to anyone as parent, because at least as an adult man, because it's important to have your own authority. But they could be maybe guardians is a better word, or your maybe they could even be considered like a brother or sister, like an equal. And this applies to like aunts, uncles, even friends that you care about. It's like these are people that you care, that care about you and that have the same values and will look out for you. Because in those times when you're feeling low and you don't you might feel worthless, or you might feel upset, and then you're gonna get into that lower vibratory energy of which is less loving. It's like it doesn't make any sense to not have a support system, people who will help and look out for you. Okay, that being considered, okay, like where am I going with this? Well, back to the original point, the kind of initial point is that how do you when you're ready for marriage, how do you go about that? I would say the way to do it is lots of low vibes out here. Yeah, there is still good out there, but the reality is when people, here's the problem. The problem is when you well, those are also powerful words you guys are speaking into existence. And if you want good, then it's about what goes on in your mind. It's not exactly about, pardon me, I'm going to take my shirt off to cool off. It's not about what truth is. It's about what your mind is programmed as and what's like running through your mind. Right, no, I get it. It's not about being negative, but it is about being pragmatic. And it's not about hope either. It's about consciously programming your mind. Because what happens if you watch, the daily news every day, which they broadcast more negative stuff because it actually draws people in, because their survival instincts. It's a survival thing to protect, to consider more negative stuff, and to make sure that that for sure. But back to the marriage thing, right? So let's say you see some around you and you're ready for marriage, and I think the woman actually is the one who makes the first move. And check it out. It's because I think that she signals. See, the thing about women is they don't really, I don't think they think logically per se. Like they don't think, like if a woman sees a man that she's interested in, I don't think women are careful enough to like want to analyze the person, like, well, what are their values and what are, I think women are more about their emotions and like how they feel about something, and that's not always accurate. But what you can trust is well, you can't even trust that, but you can, if they give you a hint, it's going to be a physical hint, like moving their body in the direction of you, or like showing off their body a little to you, or something like that. So I think the woman actually makes the first like preemptive initial move, and then once she does that, then that's a cue for the guy to say hi, or say something, but a few little conversation about, yeah, well said, Pi. And so make a little conversation, and then but it shouldn't be that much. It should be like, hey, this is, how are you? My name's this. This is what I do for work. What do you do for work? Superficial, or not. That's not superficial. That's just like formalities, right? It's like, who are you? Where are you from? But then when it really gets down to it, I think it's important to declare who you are. Like, this is my religion. This is my, you know, this is my life. This is a few of my key preferences. Like for me, it's easy. I say I'm vegan. For you, it might be I'm, a member of this club, or I like pets, or I don't like pets. It's like people have to have things that are like the main interest in their life. Like they like fashion, they like cars, they like. I actually encourage people to, instead of choosing those, to choose to be, like you're saying, peace, like health minded. Uh, See, that's what I'm saying, peace. Like yourself, right, dude? Like that's what. Okay, when we know ourselves, guys, that's what. And women, I'm sure that there's occasionally women who watch streams, or YouTube. But the thing is men have this desire to know things. They want to know. They want to process knowledge. They want to manifest that knowledge by learning skills and ideas and creating them and doing stuff and like making society more than like problem solving. Women, on the other hand, I think prefer to have fun. This is not to be critical, but from the way I look at women, and you can tell, when you see people, like you can look at them and the way that they kind of move and the way they, the way they look around, like you can tell like kind of an intelligence level. And this is not, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's just a reality. It's like people women are emotional. Like they're either like in a good mood or they're in a bad mood. Like you can see the emotions on their face. Not in a bad way. They add. Well, it's they make us human. But the point is they operate from an emotional lens. So they, like, I've heard people say that women, if we're being honest, women are like have the, you know the playfulness of like teenagers, and they don't really grow out of that. I think they have this kind of desire to play, and it could be because a lot of women, I think, are more sheltered, and I'd like them to be sheltered. I'd like, as men, to take on the burdens and difficulties of the world. But the question is, as individuals, like, yes, in societies in the past, that's good. Imagine, I like that. And it's like, it's who we are. We're human beings. That's why I came up with this worship vulva idea. Uh, I call it the goddess VVV. In fact, I have a website. You guys check it out. goddessvvv.com. vulvav.com. And to me, that is a woman who shaves her vulva, and who is, yeah, like healthy, like her skin's healthy. She's working on her health, and it's like she looks attractive, and you know it's a different way of looking at women. Like I think it's important to be able to look at a woman and say, yes, I would want to give her oral sex. Like, it's a different way of analyzing women. It's a different way of, like, it's a different way of seeing women. Um, mm. But you gotta be careful, because, like, the reality is that, yes, women are emotional, and what happens is if men get caught up in those emotions, or they decide that they want to, like, make the woman like them and start giving them their time and money without formal marriage commitment. It's like, no, you have to kind of be an authority for women. You have to say, like, this is the way we live, and obviously you want to do this all before you get married, right? That's a good one, Peace. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point, is because people who are physically fit, it affects their mind as well. But okay, so you see a woman, and then you tell her, like, hey, I'm looking for a wife. Like, do you is is that a goal in your life, a current goal in your life? Like, are you trying to find a spouse? Uh, and then the conversation can go like, hey, I think it's important for the man to give her space, not try to get her phone number or her, information. Instead, I think he should offer to her, like, hey, if you want to learn more about me, I'd be happy for you to look me up online, my social media, or if a guy has a business card, say, hey, check me out, and if you'd like to talk more, email me or contact me. That way it's in the woman's court. It's like not trying to not making the woman worry about that she's giving her phone number away. And even it's in a perfect world, honestly, I think a guy will be able to, like in the past, like talk to her father and say that, hey, I'm interested in your daughter. And because men think logically, and even more so than that, it's like men think logically, and they also care about a person. Like, if a person's clouded by their emotions, like a woman, especially women, I think when they're on their period, like, it's got to be a lot of biological force acting upon their will. It's like them wanting to get pregnant. It's like a heavy duty. It's like a serious thing, and we have to protect women. We have to celebrate them and treat them sacred. Uh, and if you worship the goddess vulva, then you will operate in this frame of treating women sacred and everything. so so what am I getting at here, guys? Like, where am I going? Well, I'm getting at interesting. That's interesting Piece. Build with have some time before kids. Yeah, it's tricky because here's my theory. Part of the problem is, like, how do you avoid pregnancy if you're going to be together? Because I don't know if you guys know, but birth control, it's like a guy. Would a guy take birth control? No way. Because, instinctually, that it's going to damage your testosterone abilities. Birth control, okay, look this up, guys. Birth control affects women negatively. There are real side effects. And okay, so you approach a woman, and then you live in her court to ask her to email you or reach out if she'd like to. And then if she does, then try to do more email, because a lot of people say, yeah, exactly, Imagine. Right, it's hormone based. Guys would never take something to cut down their hormones. Exactly. Piece. And so here's my thought. Here's my thinking. Okay, it's like, once you do that, then you're fucking good. You've, as a man, you've not, like, reduced yourself to a woman. You've given her the option to reach out to you, and if she likes you, don't make it about if you like her. It's about if she likes you and your path, because you're gonna be, generally speaking, you're gonna be the one going out and doing the work, and creating a safe and security. And guess what happens, guys? Guess what the woman does? The woman in an ideal situation, I would think, would teach the children. Exactly. Take your last name. Bingo. Well, that's another big thing. All these guys fucking hyphenating names and fucking, the woman not even taking her name. Like, it's so emasculating. It's so insulting to the man. It's like saying, yeah, I want the security of you being my husband, but I don't respect you enough as a man and you're masculine to take your name. Like, that's fucking no. It's like it's so serious. It's not a side aspect. There are consequences to. And then should there be a prenuptial? I think a good prenuptial agreement is we'll stay together until the kids are like 21. Like, no matter what, I think people should have a prenuptial agreement, because it makes you think about who you are and what you really want. Exactly. Empower a woman to what? Take hormones that change the way they think and damage their body, and also encourage them to kill their own children. It's like, uh, with abortion, of course, but still abortion. Like, the baby is alive. I think it's like after 4 weeks, the baby can feel. The baby has a. Yeah, that's a dude. Peace by you, and imagine you guys are. I'm glad that you guys happen to be both available to join the conversation, because this is like some serious stuff, and it's like, so where do we go moving forward? So we do but then I want to get the marriage thing, and then I recommend no dating, because dating in a public context, that's a way of telling people that you're together. So I think dating should only be for married couples, because how the fuck, like like if people are having sex and they're publicly going out together, then how, like, what's going to be any different if they're married? It's just because they have a wedding band. Okay, a marriage ceremony and a wedding ring is less significant and intimate than actual physical intimacy and being together in public. So we need to reorient ourselves around the reality of what does it mean to be married. Okay, so going forward, I'm gonna wrap it up soon, guys. I am intent on doing another stream in about 20 minutes. I'm going live in Waikiki, so that'll be a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys are around on the internet, or you're up. I don't know, I don't know what your deal is, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay, I try and get some public interactions, get people like talking on the stream. Oh, cool! You're on the West Coast. Okay. And then another thing I wanted to mention, guys, as a conclusory thought, is your money. Okay, mistakes people make with money is thinking that, oh, because they're getting paid on next week on Friday, that they can spend more money and count on that pay. Never do that. And or they think that, oh, this job is all lined up and it's guaranteed. Never do that. So never treat your money as if it's guaranteed money in the future of income. Oh, good. Imagine you'll be tuning in. That sounds great. What's another money thing? Save aggressively, and save like in the interest of your future wife. Like, you got to be like, as a quote unquote nice guy. I would say I would categorize myself. The like you've you've got to. You've really got to be selfish and greedy sometimes, and you should have a minimum amount. I think that you should have. Um, I would recommend it to be. It depends on the person, but it should be 6 months worth of your bills so you can be comfortable. So split your bills up. What does it cost each month? And then have that in either gold or silver or cash or something that you know is there and it's not going anywhere. It's an emergency fund. So this has been good, guys. And check out my new idea. It's oh, that's interesting. ETF. I don't know much about that, but but yeah, it's been good to connect and just. I am definitely advancing my philosophy. I'm, in fact, I have a top 25 daily action list. Because what's important to me is what people actually do. Like, if you're, for example, if you're Christian, claim to be Christian, it's like, do you follow some of the precepts? Do you try to avoid premarital intimacy? Uh, and then in the action list should involve techniques to do that. Like, for example, I I like to I like to email my future spouse, you know, to tell her that I care about her, that I'm working for her. Okay, here's the other one that I really wanted to convey, guys. It's kind of a stoic, it's kind of a Spartan way of doing it, but it's important, I think. It's thank you, peace. When you're okay, you have to be a little aggressive. You have to be aggressive with your money. And like, for example, I could have gone out and, you know, eaten, gone to, eat some food tonight, like a nice dinner, quote unquote. But I know that I have things. I know that I have goals. My goal is to save the world, to make it a fucking hospitable place to exist in. And so instead of doing, a dinner and relaxing and we're watching, consuming something, I'm taking action on my goal. I'm here being present with you guys. I am, thank you, peace. That's interesting, peace. That's the the entry level minimum 25K. Okay, so you've got to be you've got to be aggressive. You got to be like, nope, I'm working, I'm doing. And here's another thing: when you're doing you're doing something you think is important, like maybe studying for your future business. Treat it like work. Like, how we say, interesting piece. You know how we say stuff like, if someone says, "Can you come to this, social event?" You say, "Well, I'm working." If you're actually working, well, you should say to people that you're working, even if you're not working. If you're just working on some project that you're trying to do to improve your life, be like, treat your time like money, like in the sense of like, would you give people, your money freely? No, you wouldn't. So treat your time just the same. And time is money, because if the amount of hours you work is the, amount of money that you make. If at least if you're an hourly wage. And then it's been a mouthful, you guys, but thanks for being present. Work the hardest for yourself. Good affirmation. Be of genius mindset. Be there with it. I'll leave you guys with my light work. That's something I like to do. It's imagining people smiling that you don't like. Imagining if you have a car, mechanic trouble. It's all about imagining that brilliant white light. Okay, so imagine someone you don't like. Let's start off with someone that you're having an issue with. Maybe it's somebody owes you money at work, or you feel like you're being underpaid. A good piece. So imagine somebody, okay, that you're upset at, just whoever's watching, and even if you're watching the live replay, take advantage of this technique. It's taken me 15 years to refine it into this. So it's you imagine somebody you're upset at, okay? Now imagine them smiling, and this doesn't have nothing to do with them. You're not okay. Well, I'm sure, Peace, you could conjure up someone like some seemingly malevolent world leader. Right? So just imagine someone, right? Just imagine a single person. Now imagine them smiling, okay? Smiling joyfully. Or maybe, oh, fuck it. Imagine somebody you're romantically interested in and you haven't really said anything to them or whatnot. And you just, you feel maybe anxious around them, whatever it is. Imagine them smiling. Now imagine brilliant stream of white light, okay? Just as if you're an angel flying through the sky, and you're flying near them, and you see the stream of light just streaming to them. They grab the light in their hand, they wield it, brilliant white. Yeah. And you just imagine them smiling. That's the key point, because what you're doing is you're programming your mind to have brilliance of white light and joyful people. The mind operates in imagery, right? It's that G shit. Hey, yeah, we're in Waikiki. People have music, turned on. It's a fun place. A lot of people are here to have fun. They're visiting, right? But let me collect myself, get my things ready, and yeah, good to do a quick light work session. But yeah, we should get down to business here. So let's talk soon. If you guys can or can't turn in, Imagine in Peace. Let's to the best. Yeah, thank you guys. Okay, I'm gonna say aloha. Take care.